Hello and welcome back. You join me on a beautiful Wednesday morning. I've just left Keith's. I'm starting to make my way back up home. Now yesterday, after the three of us left the docks at Portsmouth, we rode back up the motorway. We took the M27 and then we joined the M3. And then we rode up the A34, which is another big dual carriageway with lots and lots of traffic on. The journey back up was pretty uneventful really. Nothing exciting, no views worth looking at. It was just trudge back up. We made our way back up to Oxford. We pulled into the services where the three of us had met up a few days beforehand. We grabbed a spot of lunch, courtesy of McDonald's. And then we bid our farewells to Scott. He'd decided to split his journey back home up, and he was going to stop in a very nice hotel in the outskirts of Oxford. Can't fault him. So, having said goodbye to Scott, it was down to me and Keith to once again join the rat race and make our way back up towards Stoke-on-Trent. Not the most exciting of rides, but it just had to be done. So that was yesterday for us. Pete, he was able to have a nice leisurely ride back home. He didn't have that far to go. While we slogged it back up the motorway. Never mind. Today, well, Scott's got a nice leisurely ride on his own from Oxford back up to Cheshire. Keith's making plans to go in his camper van back to France with the wife. He's going to have 5 or 6 weeks out there touring around. Lovely, very nice. As for me today, well, I've got clear blue skies. I've got these lovely country lanes that I can take all the way up to Knutsford. Then unfortunately I'm going to have to join the motorway for a chunk. Up to probably the top side of Preston. And then from there I can once again rejoin the old roads for some of the scenic routes back up into Scotland again. Should be a good ride. So, I think for now, we'll just enjoy these lovely, quiet country lanes. So, what did I think of my first journey into France on a bike? Well, I can honestly say I enjoyed every single minute of it. It was fabulous. Now I know I've only seen a very small part of France, just a few days riding round Normandy, but from my experience of that, I've found it to be a fabulous place to explore with a bike. I mean, for one thing, the roads, they're so much better than in the UK. I mean, our roads are appalling nowadays. They just don't appear to be maintained at all. And the amount of traffic here, when you consider that the part of Normandy that we were riding round was a tourist area and is quite a busy part of France, the traffic was nothing compared to what we get here. So much quieter, so much more enjoyable. And I found the people to be very friendly and very helpful. I mean, if you take a little bit of trouble to try and learn a little bit of French. You don't need to learn a lot, just a little bit, and make the effort, they will usually chuckle and then speak to you in perfect English. But yes, they're very friendly. And there's none of the prejudice against motorbikes that we sometimes still get in this country. But no, over there they accept the fact that they're on a bike. They're just normal. Admittedly, there's a lot more of them that ride bikes. But no, there's none of the prejudice that we still sometimes get in this country towards bikes. You know, you still see the odd signs outside cafes and pubs and the like, but none of that in France. In fact, quite the opposite. In fact, there's far more sort of dedicated parking for bikes. And if you go somewhere where there isn't adequate bike parking, there seems to be no objection to you parking on the pavements. You know, bikes seem to be able to park anywhere. And with one or two exceptions, generally speaking, most of the French drivers seem to be very aware of bikes. Now I know Pete's told me that a lot of French drivers start on motorbikes. They can ride them from quite a young age. And most French drivers have ridden motorbikes when they were younger, so that will help. But they do appear to be much more aware of what you've got to cope with as a rider. And that was pretty obvious. You could see it on the dual carriageways. I mean, the French are pretty impatient drivers, and you would see if someone was in the fast lane, it wouldn't be very long before there was someone up behind them, and if they wouldn't move out of the way, they'd get really close up behind them until they did eventually move out of the way. They didn't seem to tolerate it from other car drivers. But we were never, ever intimidated by any car driver in France. I mean, all right, you see one or two nutters, you get nutters everywhere, but generally speaking, I felt a lot safer within French traffic. They seemed far more aware of the presence of bikes. Will I be doing it again? You can bet I will. I've already booked my ferries for next year. Yeah, I'm going to do it differently though this next time. I'm going to run down to Newcastle and take a ferry from Newcastle across to Holland, and then I can ride down through Holland, through Belgium and into northern France, where I'll meet up with Pete, and then the two of us are going to have about 10 days exploring around France on the bikes. And this time we're going back to the original plan. We're going on the 350s, so that'll be interesting. As for another tour with the four of us together, well, you never know. We're discussing one or two ideas. The possibility of perhaps renting a gîte somewhere in France and exploring from one base point. We'll see what happens. Hopefully we'll sort something out. So if you've never taken your own bike across and you're thinking about doing it, well, I'd say go for it. Do it. It's a fabulous experience. Get together with one or two of your friends, and organise a trip out there. Doesn't need to be long, just go for a long weekend like we did. Brilliant fun, really good laugh. And when you can share it with some friends, that's even better. I had a fantastic time, and I went with 3 really good friends.